7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. More at DeWittDailyNews.com. Memorial Day weekend fell a little earlier on the calendar than normal, and some less than ideal weather created a slower than usual holiday weekend on Clinton Lake. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, Department of Natural Resources Conservation Police Officer Noah Workman told Regional Radio the weather for Saturday of Memorial Day weekend was excellent, and the lake saw a good crowd that day, but overall he felt traffic was down.
Memorial Day, it was a slower Memorial Day relative to what it's been in the past. We had that overcast on Friday and we had some sun on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Friday was a little bit slower, still a lot of fishermen out. Saturday, I remember it was pretty. I was out on the boat that day and there was a lot of boat traffic. Stopped some boats, talked to some people. The parking lots were full. Sunday, we saw a lot of fishermen, a lot of just families out recreating. So
sure.
It was a relatively slow weekend, which was it's a good thing as far as we didn't have any problems or anything like that. Yeah, it was busy on Saturday. We stopped some boats and talked to some people, and it was nice.
With the west side boat access closed, boat trailer parking has come at a premium so far this summer, and Officer Workman is encouraging non-boat vehicles to park in an overflow lot or approved areas and walk to their destination on the lake.
The most common thing I've noticed is the non-trailer, the vehicles not pulling a trailer, utilizing a trailer parking spot. Mm-hmm. We got west side still closed, like we spoke about last time. With that, we've got an influx of people utilizing the other ramps. And what we're seeing is we've got trailer spots and all the ramps. We want the vehicles that are pulling trailers to use those spots. The vehicles that are not having trailers on them, there's overflow parking, especially out by Mascout. And there's other parking areas in which they can park their vehicle, walk down to the boat ramp, jump on the boat, and go recreate. That's the big thing I've noticed as far as parking and stuff out at Clinton Lake when we've had large crowds. If you've got 11 people on a pontoon, you're going to have the one pontoon vehicle pulling the pontoon, and then the other occupants are going to be meeting them there in a car. Parking an overflow non-trailer spot especially out at Clinton Lake.
According to Officer Workman, an issue he has taken notice of so far this summer is boaters not with the proper signage for having something they're pulling behind their watercraft. He's encouraging making sure you comply to signal to other boaters to keep their distance.
The most common violation I've noticed are people not having an orange flag present when they're towing people, whether it be a skier or a tube. If you're pulling somebody with a boat, whether it be a tube or a ski, you've got to have an orange flag visible. Usually at the highest point, you want the other boaters to see your orange flag that indicates to them that you've got somebody behind your boat. It lets them be mindful to keep a good safe distance. I've noticed not a lot, but that's been the most common violation of the reason why I've stopped boats yesterday. I was out on the boat yesterday. I think we stopped like 4 or 5 boats that had people under tow, no orange flag. I know the marina's selling safety equipment. So if you get out there and you realize you don't have one, stop in the marina. They've been a good job. I stopped in on Memorial Day weekend and they've got all the safety stuff inside their shop that you can pick up if you're short something.
Officer Workman is also has also encountered a couple of circumstances of boaters' registrations being outdated. He's cutting most boaters a break, given they have a 3-year renewal cycle, and it can easily be lost track of when that renewal time comes around. A Piatt County school district is seeing improvement in student vaping issues after a couple of measures they say are working well. Adam Clapp is the superintendent of Monticello Schools and indicates they have used a couple of initiatives to help reduce the number of occurrences of students vaping on school property. He says the measures are working.
We did about 3 years ago was a anti-vaping initiative. So not only are we helping kids one-on-one through working through issues, we're looking at greater issues that are affecting a school as a whole. So at that time, we had an issue of vaping at the high school. So we really partnered with Piatt County Mental Health and our social workers to develop an anti-vaping kind of campaign. And we set up some vaping cessation sessions as well. We had vape turn-in, like a anonymous box that we're able to turn in. So not only is it counseling, but we also are able to collaborate for some bigger initiatives as well. 3 years ago, when we pulled that out with our Piatt County Mental Health, it was awesome. It was one of those things where we allowed the anonymous drop off. We had several vapes dropped off. We also were able to put together that, I think it was a 4 to 6 week program of after school support meetings for those students who would like that. And then unfortunately, when the intergovernmental agreement kind of ran its course, that program went away, but that's something that, we would consider bringing back if we feel it's a need to bring back.
This past school year was the first year of vape sensors in all the schools' bathrooms, and Clapp says that roughly $7,000 investment proved to be a great one.
Yeah, we installed those last summer. That was just one of those things where we had been discussing it for several years. Just how could we best, because the bathrooms are that place where it's hard to supervise. We put those vape detectors in last summer. They've been a positive addition to the high school. We told the students up front last August, like, we installed these. We don't want you vaping. There's negative side effects to vaping, and we're going to help deter this behavior. So we're very upfront with them. We believe it's had a positive impact. About $7,000 is what we invested.
Monticello isn't the first district in central Illinois to turn to this technology. Clapp notes they visited Sullivan High School, which has it in place. It is his hope to lead students to better decision making. The topic of vapes comes on the heels of a renewed partnership with the Piatt County Mental Health Center that was approved this spring for Monticello schools. The Mental Health Center says vaping continues to be a top issue facing teens when it comes to substance use, that is. The prime of the fresh produce season is upon us as we look to elevate our meals with those summer classics. Caitlin Mellendorf is a nutrition educator at the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. She explains the summer produce season will gradually get more robust, but for now, strawberries and asparagus are the hot items you'll find.
Yeah, so it is two big things right now. It is asparagus and strawberries. So these are the two crops in Illinois that we really have just, really just popping up everywhere. So if you have access to, a local farmer's market or grocery store that's sourcing maybe from a nearby farmer, those are two great things. And because berries are so popular, we're starting to see a lot of farms doing U-picks. So you can come to the farm, spend a day, or maybe not all day, maybe a couple hours, to pick those berries yourself. And a lot of those places will also do pre-picks, so you can call ahead and say, hey, I don't want to spend the time picking, but if I'll pay a little extra if you can pick those for me. So strawberries and asparagus are going right now.
According to Mellendorf, those cold weather crops are starting to come into season. Radishes, lettuces, and many more are prime this time of the year. Cabbage and broccoli are going to be at their freshest right now.
And then other colder weather kinds of crops. We're looking at lettuces. So this is a great salad time of year, as well as radishes and turnips are in this. And depending on the farmer, if they're growing it, they might be doing things like cabbage or broccoli. So we get lots of vegetables finally, we're getting into that great summer season. So we're getting that transition. So things like, think about the lettuces and strawberries, like a nice strawberry salad. So you can have that with maybe some walnuts or some chicken on top, and do a mix of different types of lettuces, spinach, other types of greens with those berries. Great, early summer, or I guess almost late summer now, late summer salad. With the asparagus, I'm a big fan of just roasting those. So put them on a sheet pan. If you've got a grill basket, you can sort of do them on the grill too. They take very little time. So, maybe 5 minutes, just enough to kind of warm them through and get them crispy, and then they're ready to go. We have a really nice recipe on that Eat, Move, Save website that I mentioned. It's got a Dijon dressing that you can use as a topping for that if you are looking for kind of a way to make it a little fancier.
We're just now starting to get into the time of year where tomatoes and peppers may start popping up at your local farmer's market or grocery store. Mellendorf encourages taking advantage of those locally grown foods at your local grocery store. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed the fiscal year 26 budget into law, and a Central Illinois lawmaker is ripping Illinois Democrats' spending plans. State Representative Dr. Bill Howder says many things in this year's spending plan are hard to justify. He points out taxes in Illinois are going up by about $1 billion.
Well, highlights, lowlights, I don't know what you want to call them. The end of session brought the budget. The budget, again, was the largest budget in Illinois history. Spending went up by another $2 billion. And so for that, they needed more taxes. Taxes went up by another billion or so. And we just saw, again, that we are battling the tax and spend Democrats. And you know what, Seth? Even their own House Speaker, Speaker Welsh, a Democrat, called them in an interview. He called them the tax and spend Democrats. He said, I'm dealing, at the end of this budget, I'm dealing with 78 tax and spend Democrats. And so what they did is they proved that again, $55 billion spending package. It was filled with things that just we could not vote for as a Republican, as the super minority. We voted against it. There was some Democrats that also voted against it. Again, it passed. There's a couple things in it that I just think they're really hard to justify it in any way.
According to Dr. Howder, there is $1 billion for Illinois Democrats' home districts to do what they want with it.
One of them is $240 million for Democrat slush fund that is used for Democrat-only districts, so they can spend on pork projects. And they're called member initiatives. So Democrats, each Democrat got $1 million in the House and $1.5 million in the Senate to do with what they wanted in their district. Speaker Welsh, in particular, spent $40 million for a new sports facility at Proviso in Proviso West. I think was alma mater, and he represents that area. He brought home $40 million for a high school sports complex. On and on. The governor created a special slush fund for himself that he can move money around and cover whatever he needs to cover with emergency powers. And we go to, the health care for illegal immigrants is still intact. They stopped a program for healthcare benefits for illegal immigrant adults. They stopped that because they agreed with us that it was a huge boondoggle, but they kept the one for 65 and older, undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants, non-citizens. Let's just call it that. So that's in there. I mean, it's just atrocious that we continue to spend from when the governor took office 6 years ago. We've, I think, increased our budget by $16 billion and the taxes that go with it.
Several tax increase proposals did not gain traction after voters heard about them. Dr. Howder points out the big one was the $1.50 delivery tax.
Well, they talked about a delivery tax. I don't know if you heard that. That did not pass. That was to fund mass transit. So they're going to have to still think of something how to fund the mass transit mess up in Chicago. They need over $700 million for that mass transit. So they're trying to think of ways to do that. One of them is with this delivery tax of $1.50 on every delivery. I just want people to know it did not pass. It did pass in the Senate, so it did not pass in the House. So that's how far it got before they ran out of time. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. They may try that again, or they may try other taxes. But really, what they did was a series of taxes that was implemented as an increase on your mobile phone tax. It went from the largest and most tax on your mobile phones in the nation to even more higher tax mobile phones.
For the Morton Republican, the taxes are stretched across numerous places and in many cases won't be obviously noticed by the average consumer.
They do a little bit on a lot of different areas, and you don't exactly see it, but $1 billion more in taxes for our businesses and our people. A lot of times when you tax, especially these vices and betting and other things, people can modify their behaviors, and so what you project to bring in, you don't bring in. And also, whenever you do a tax, it's a disincentive to not only for that product, but also that taxing entity, in this case, the state. And so people are not only turned off to those products or those behaviors, but they're also turned off to the location that does that. And so this is where we lose people in Illinois because of different taxes. People are just so tired of it. And they see again and again, they see where they can get other products and services, and they can live, and they can they can buy a house, they can pay less property tax. So it makes people want to leave the state of Illinois. And that's one of the hugest and biggest problems that we must address, is the population decline in Illinois.
Dr. Howder recently discussed several pieces of legislation from the latest legislative session in Springfield. We'll hear more from him again in the coming days on Regional Radio. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Tuesday. A quick break and a weather alert, though, and we wrap things up coming up on the morning show.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to Fiber Fast Internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels, custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, even high countries. All our inventory is priced for our summer savings season. Baum Chevrolet Buick. Together, let's drive. BaumChevroletBuick.com right from the start.
I'm weatherology meteorologist Derek Height with a significant weather update brought to you exclusively by ServPro of Piatt, DeWitt counties, your fire, storm, and water restoration specialists. A dense fog advisory continues until 9 a.m. this morning. A dense fog advisory means that widespread fog is likely to reduce visibilities to 1/4 of a mile or less, maybe near zero in spots. This fog may linger for a relatively long period of time as well, leading to significant travel delays. If you are out driving, slow down and use your vehicle's low beams for the best visibility possible. Take your time to stay safe. A dense fog advisory continues until 9 a.m. this morning. Stay tuned for additional updates. I'm meteorologist Derek Height.
News time, 26 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast. Just to follow up on that report, things were looking good when I came into the station this morning, a little bit before 6 o'clock. But as I came into the studio from my office, I looked out the window and could see 51 was there was a pretty good fog over 51. So just keep that in mind as you head out here on this Tuesday. Even though deer nuisance legislation won approval in Springfield last month, farmers continue to deal with the issue, including Doug Uphoff in Shelby County.
The only pests we have are deer. They're terrible. I haven't really seen any pest problems yet as far as insects or disease, but we do have a lot of deer pressure. There are a lot of deer in there. I'm afraid they're going to get so thick we'll get that blue tongue disease in them again, which has started in the south. But yeah, just there are a lot of deer. But we're close to the lake where there's a good supply of water and a good bunch of cover for as far as trees go. So if you got anything close to the trees, you're going to have some deer pressure.
A key provision in the new deer nuisance legislation requires the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to update its deer removal permit procedures. The legislation awaits the governor's signature. Illinois Farm Bureau's Young Leaders District discussion meets are taking place throughout the state this summer.
We have two topics that we're going to be discussing. One of them is succession planning on the family farm and how Farm Bureau can help members understand the importance of succession planning and what tools can Farm Bureau bring to their members to help make that transition a little bit easier. And we're also talking about agricultural land that is lost every year due to development and how Farm Bureau can help promote responsible growth in communities while mitigating the loss of farms and ranches in the state of Illinois. So we have some great topics that are going to be discussed this year, and I'm looking forward to the conversation the young leaders are going to have at the district level.
So how does one get signed up? I know these events taking place this summer throughout the state.
Yeah, so each district has their own date as well as location and the time of the event. And that information can be available on the Illinois Farm Bureau website. So if you go to ilfb.org/YL discussion meet, you can find all of the information about the discussion meet. That includes the topics, the discussion meet manual, as well as the flyer schedule that talks about when your district discussion meet is going to be. And if you're looking to get more information about it and you want to get registered, I highly recommend young leaders reaching out to their local Farm Bureau manager to get registered for the event. They are the ones that are responsible for registering participants for the competition. So please reach out to your local Farm Bureau office to get registered and confirmed.
That is Illinois Farm Bureau Young Leader Program Coordinator Perry Harlow, who says details on the district discussion meets, including locations and dates, are available at ilfb.org. Under the tab Get Involved, click on Young Leaders. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News,